We will call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Trustee DeBoer? Here. Trutchell?
Here.
Pfeiffer?
Here.
President Vanderstill?
Here.
Trustee Walschlager? Here. Connor?
Here.
Hallquist?
Here. All right. If you'd all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Trustee DeBoer. All right, at this time, if anybody would like to speak in public comments, please step towards the podium. Anybody that's on Zoom, please send a message that you would like to make public comments. Last call for, go ahead.
I've never done this before, so I'm not sure if this is the right time or not. My name's William Betcher. I'm a Hartland resident. I wanted to just pass something out to you guys showing basically a situation where somebody was allowed to move back into their parents' home, a sex offender, after the moratorium was already in place, and I guess they were quote-unquote grandfathered in because they had lived there prior to the moratorium. The concern is that we live in a courtyard, and where they're located, all the children have to walk past that property to get to the bus stop. We could possibly look at seeing if the bus would come into and go around the court, but historically they have not because it's kind of a tight squeeze, I guess. And I just wanted to show you how many children are actually within about 100, maybe 200 yards of the property.
The second one, I'll give it to the police chief.
And I spoke to the deputy chief. Explain our situation, I guess. The number just shows minors in the residence.
Wait till you go to the mic, because then we can pick it all up. It's not, that's okay.
Yeah, we can hear you, just gotta make.
If you want to just, first of all, we got that you were in Hartland, but can you give your address?
Yes, it's 635 Briarcliff Court.
And you did get the name?
William Betcher. It's Boettcher.
We're just getting it for the record.
Thank you.
And the floor is still yours, so if you have more to say.
Oh, that's it. All I wanted to do is just show basically in each property where there's minor children and the location of the person that I was concerned about.
Okay. Typically, we wouldn't go do back and forth, but it's an important issue. But Chief, if you want to chime in on it, we do have our police chief here. If you want to
So
say.
I knew Mr. Betcher did speak with Deputy Chief Clara earlier today. So Deputy Chief did inform me of your conversation. Definitely understand your frustration with what's going on with our moratorium was in place, and Mr. Pickens was grandfathered into that moratorium. That moratorium was moved over to a permanent sex offender ordinance. Under that ordinance, there's an exception called original domicile, and basically I'll just read it so there's no misinterpretation. But a sex offender shall be permitted to reside in the village if such sex offender was domiciled in the village at the time of the offense, resulting in the sex offender's most recent conviction of committing a crime against the children. My understanding is this is talking to probation parole. This particular individual was moved out of state for a period of time and has since returned just recently. What they had informed me is that he is no longer on probation parole, remains on the sex offender registry, but has been relocated back, and it is for the offense that was committed here in Hartland in 2010. So he would fall under unfortunately, that original domicile exception, and that's basically a boilerplate or standard exception in almost every sex offender ordinance in the state of Wisconsin.
And that extends to adult children, non-homeowners.
Anyone, renters, homeowners, could be anything.
So if you have a driver's license and the address is registered to you and whatever,
Yeah.
that's your residence and you're welcome there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're welcome there, but yeah, if you're allowed to live there, there's nothing that the village can do that would be against our ordinance or any state statute for that particular offense. Again, I definitely understand your frustration, and I appreciate you voicing those concerns, but how our ordinance is written, we wouldn't have an avenue to enforce any type of
Okay,
him to move at this particular
okay,
time under this ordinance.
okay. Do you know is that common that there is sort of that grandfathered in clause?
Well, yeah, and semantics a little bit. It's not technically grandfathered. It's original domicile. Grandfather would be, the other part of this would be if our ordinance went into effect on a certain date. If you were here before that, we obviously can't go retroactive and then like enforce an ordinance if you already had lived here.
Okay.
So a little bit of semantics, this would be an exception, and I would say it's probably in every single ordinance, almost every single ordinance in the state of Wisconsin, without me reading every single ordinance in the state of Wisconsin.
Do you know if he willingly moves, does that end that? Or he can come back, if he moves out of state for a year under his own accord, he can come back to his parents' house?
Yeah, under the original domicile exception, there's nothing in there that doesn't allow him to leave and come back type.
Okay,
So there is child safety zones within the village of Hartland. He would be just within the child safety zone. Across the street from that residence would not. However, the original domicile exception doesn't, the child safety zones don't apply to that exception.
okay.
It's basically under the ordinances, it's, I guess a quick way of saying, if the offender lived here in your community, you gotta keep that offender here in your community.
Okay,
Because the expectation can't be, whether it's us or another community saying they were a resident here and committed this crime, now you let them live in your community, because that's what that turns into.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how that kind of original domicile came about.
that makes sense. And I'm sure it has nothing to do with you guys, but if we wanted to like petition for the bus company to actually enter the court and go around and pick up kids individually in front of their homes, is that something?
Yeah,
you have your
definitely.
Support in that?
Yeah, so what I would do is, I don't know if you necessarily need that support. What I would do is, as a public record for anyone that's on the sex offender registry, you can provide that, that information as that public record right off the sex offender registry.
Okay.
I don't know what's gonna speak louder than that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, and I do want you to know that the board does take it very seriously. We worked very hard. It was more, when we got rid of the moratorium, it was more so because the writing was on the wall. Even though you and many don't like it, there's a lot of rights that they extend to people who have committed those types of crimes and are on that list. And the writing was just on the wall, so then we had to put laws in place. Part of the reason that we have original domicile and the spirit behind that portion of it is that there was a time in Hartland where there was even, I believe, 2 that were here from Illinois because there used to be no law.
Right, so it was more.
So they were
like
coming
they
here
were-
because, well, yeah, it's a
Yes.
free-for-all. You can move to Hartland, there's nothing, they're not gonna do anything.
Right.
So, we did come up with the best law that we can, but we do take it very seriously, and I appreciate you coming to speak on it.
I understand that.
And the entire board does.
That side of it is definitely beneficial, and I understand what the chief was saying in terms of like, we don't wanna be perceived as we're sending our people that are offenders
So we
out
don't
into
send
other
ours
people's
out.
communities.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else, speaking for public comments? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. Well, we will move on to our first item on the agenda, which is the annual update by Judge Kay for Lake Country Municipal Court. Hello, Judge, how are you?
Very good. Thank you, Mr. President and trustees, for letting me speak annually at your Village Hall meetings here. I appreciate coming out and talking to everybody, trying to answer questions up front. I always end my little speech by saying, if I can't answer your questions, please call my clerk or ask Chief Misko. He probably knows the best answers. But we all work very hard at our court. So I passed out my letter, my annual letter, and I'm pleased to announce that this year we approved of the city of Delafield to merge into or come into our court, not merge, but join our court. They will be the 21st member, and that's a good thing. There's a lot of work behind the scenes to get that done. Make a long story short, the city of Delafield was very loyal to their past judge. A good friend of mine, Michael Hausman, he passed away August of 23. Immediately the city of Delafield started to talk with us about how to come over, what to do. There's a lot of logistics. So they're trying to get their case load done, and they are going to try to transfer very few things to our court. There's a lot of legalese about what we can take and not take, and what I had jurisdiction over and not jurisdiction over. I can't take old stuff because I wasn't the judge. So we're working that all out. They're already writing tickets for our proposed court date of May 15th, I think is their first court date. I think they've written about 20 citations already. So Clerk Terry's been working with the city, transferred all the codes. There's a lot of identification about the officers. When they write their tickets, it goes on the tracks, it comes over to our system. So all this stuff's being worked out. We've been approved by Judge Buchenhagen, and we're waiting for all the contracts are being executed. You guys are probably going to be asked to review a Section 66 agreement. I'm not sure that's on your agenda tonight, but all municipalities have to sign on or adopt that ordinance so that all 21 jurisdictions have the same ordinance before us. So that's good news. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means a little bit more work for us, but we think we can handle it. And again, if you look at the back of my handout, I like this little sheet. It shows you what happens when a citation is paid. Most of the fine money goes to the municipality. Some goes to the state. Well, actually, a lot goes to the state, because I always say they're the state. So can't figure that one out, but they get the biggest cut. Waukesha gets some, and there's a pie chart there for purple, 27%. We get to keep that for our budget. So with more tickets coming through for the city of Delafield, we probably will be more in the black than we were in past years. We'll have more funds available. If you look at page 2 of my letter, I kind of outlined that for last year, based upon our 1.9 million collected, how those funds were distributed. Of those distributions, we funded our municipal court fully. We had a surplus of about $41,000. That's unofficial. The auditors always come in and they always say, well, it's not 41, it's 39 or 42, but it's pretty close. So the point is, we never ask your municipality or other municipalities to pitch in or pay for our court. It's actually a rare thing. Most of the municipal courts in the state, whatever they collect, they usually go back to their governing bodies and say, well, we collected 15, we need another 10 to make it all work. And that's usually what happens in other smaller jurisdictions. So we are the largest joint municipal court in the state.
Wow.
And so we are very efficient. We have one judge, one main clerk, one main deputy clerk, they're full-timers, 2 part-timers, and we're all able to, one copy machine, one lease payment to the city, which we kind of always scrutinize. The city's got their thing in there. So it's a good thing. I also passed out a chart that I call fines by municipality, and so you can kind of see a comparison year end, and you probably have information already, it's public record, but I try to make it handy and available. So for example, Hartland last year, after all of our expenses were paid, Hartland got a check for about $76,000. So it doesn't cost you anything, and you guys get some revenue out of that. All the municipalities get revenues. You can see, your sister adjoining cities and villages, kind of what they get. You can kind of see who's bigger, who's smaller, but it's all a good thing. So I'm very proud to be your judge, and I am running again in April for my 4th term, unopposed. So just remember to get out the vote. Any questions? I can answer them now. Yes, ma'am.
The letter where it says, number 2, it says for the year 2022. And then on the
Oh, that should
other
be,
one, it says 2023.
Oh,
Which year are we
geez.
talking?
boy, oh boy, that first thing should be for year 2023.
23, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure
If you look at my last year's letter, that paragraph is exactly the same, except the dollar amounts are
I
different.
understand. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't from 22.
Thank you, and
Thank you.
I'm gonna make that change for my next other villages and towns I go to. But, yeah, we've been in our new courtroom for about 3 years. Things are great, you know, we have lots of room, the computers are fantastic, microphones are great. I don't know if any of you had a chance to be there, our municipal court, but it's gorgeous. It looks very beautiful. I love it, so. All right. Any other questions?
Chief, how is everything going? Everything's good? Working with the
Yeah,
courts?
Things are going great with the court. I think the best thing with a joint municipal court like this is exactly what the judge said. This is a big reason I think Delafield ended up joining the court. It was several tens of thousands of dollars savings to the city of Delafield by joining and realizing some efficiencies by this municipal or joint effort. And the biggest thing for the village of Hartland is we've not put any budgetarily dollars into the Lake Country Municipal Court. It's all user-based, basically off those fine amounts and paid for through those fine amounts, not through city or village taxpayers in our case.
And I forgot to mention, we do meet monthly, Operations Committee. Chief Miskell is on that committee, so we do meet every Wednesday. I can't remember the first one or second of the month. And those are very productive. Those are the times where we figure out, you know, a new part-time employee's coming in, we need to fix this or pay for that, and we just kind of keep things rolling, but when year end rolls around, you know, at the annual meeting, there really is no big discussions. There's just the budget, you guys get the budget, and you approve of it, and that's really it, so.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come and speak to the board, and
Sure.
I am glad to hear that everything's going well. Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, our next item is consideration of the village board minutes for the February 12th, 2024 meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve village board minutes of February 12th, 2024.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the February 12th meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. You did see that after you walked in, right? Okay. Now we have items related to vouchers. We have consideration of a final application for payment to Payne Dolan Inc. for final closeout of the 2022 paving program until present in the amount of $26,224.32.
So the reason why you're seeing the 2022 paving program again is just because they had an accounting system transition over there. So these roads have been approved and inspected by the DPW and our engineering firm, R&M. So staff recommends the payment of $26,224.32 to Payne Dolan.
I'll make a motion to approve the final application payment to Payne Dolan in the amount of $26,224.32.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the payment to Payne Dolan. It says 2022, is that accurate? How does this work into 2022? We literally go backwards to fill in the numbers?
No, so with that, we booked a payable at the end of 2022, so all the accounting happened then. This is just simply an asset and liability entry. There's no revenue expense. It was all.
So there's no money changing hands, we're just.
So there's money, we gotta pay them, it's just getting rid of a liability by paying the cash.
Got it. Okay. There is a motion on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have a consideration of vouchers for payments in the amount of $152,180.78.
I'll make a motion to approve the vouchers in the amount of $152,180.78.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to pay the vouchers. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have items related to licenses and permits. We have consideration of a Class A beer liquor license. This is SD Hartland Inc. at 805 Cardinal Lane. We have to have a public hearing on this, so I will open up that public hearing at this time.
Sorry, my fault. I'm new to this.
Yep, sure. You want to just, if you want to speak after, you can, otherwise if you want to just briefly tell the board.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I'm Manveer Singh. I'm actually from Indiana. I moved here to Wisconsin 6 months ago. I live in the Madison area, so I got an opportunity here in Hartland to join your guys' community and join the gas station side of work here. And yeah, I just took over, and I would love to continue, the same regimen that you guys had previously with selling liquor, cigarettes, and whatnot. And I would love to have your guys' approval.
Anybody else that would like to speak, you can sit. Anybody else that would like to speak in the public hearing can do so at this time. All right, no one else is speaking, so I'm going to close the public hearing. And we will move on to the next item on the agenda, which is a consideration of an action related to the issuance of a Class A beer liquor license for SD Hartland Inc., which is the mobile on 83.
I will make a motion that we approve the Class A beer liquor license for SD Hartland Inc.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Class A beer liquor license for SD Hartland Inc., which is the mobile on Highway 83, or located at 805 Cardinal Lane. Any discussion?
Chief Misko.
Just wanted, since we have the owner in our presence, and obviously you said you were from out of state, I
You
just
can
wanted
step
to make
towards the podium,
sure.
please, sir. Sorry, Chief. Could you step towards the podium so we catch you on the mic?
Not really needed a comment per se, but just a request or something to point out. One thing that commonly happens, especially from out-of-state owners that don't know some of the Wisconsin law and nuance that go with that. Obviously with the Class A, that doesn't allow any of the video gambling machines in there,
Yeah.
so we just want to make sure
I
we
gotcha.
are well
that's-
aware of that,
yeah,
and we don't
I-
have to follow up on the back end on that.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way a little bit from over there. But yeah, no, I'm glad you can. be
Yeah, every
following
state's
that.
a little different, that's
Sure.
why I pointed out.
Yeah, no problem. And then another thing, I forgot to let you guys know we did change it 24/7 now, and I just want to give you guys a heads up just ahead of time. And along with that, if we're also adding a kitchen to there, it's not going to expand like the building or anything, but we are making some remodeling. So do I need any approval or anything for that?
Oh, if you start remodeling, you do.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You'll just want to reach
Call
out
the
to us and
village.
talk to our building inspector.
Sure, okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime you're changing anything like that, always at least call and just ask.
Okay,
Just so that you know.
Got it.
Yeah, but if there's a building permit and stuff like that, I mean, when it comes to food, usually that's handled by the county. But if you're putting other equipment in, definitely
Sure.
our fire chief would want to
Yeah,
know about
no,
it for
definitely, yeah.
sure. You know,
most
definitely. So that it helps everybody know what's going on, because obviously that does increase the risk. But they want to make sure that the proper items are in place, the proper safety protocol is in place to keep everybody as safe as possible.
okay, yep, of course. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a question, Chief. I should probably ask you this outside of the meeting, and I've brought it up a few times, and I don't know what the board's feeling is on it, but as we have more and more of these places that are open 24 hours, the communities surrounding us sell beer, and I'm not sure what else is allowed, maybe seltzers and stuff like that, but they sell beer until midnight. I guess I wanted to throw that out for the board, because as we have more and more places, I don't want anybody being hindered in Hartland, but if there is an opposition to it, I don't know if you have any.
Not putting a lot of thought into it on its face. I guess that would be up to the board. I couldn't
Okay.
give you any data that would say like crime, we're gonna become a crime-ridden village
Right.
over expanding the hours, a couple hours, but
Sure.
definitely something we can keep track of and look at. But yeah, on its face, I couldn't give you any hard data to say that causes problems.
Okay. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Was it on the permit that they'll be open 24 hours? Thank you. Got it. Okay, now we have items that were related to us or referred to us from the Plan Commission. We have consideration of an extraterritorial certified survey map for the Roy property. This is a W28N2808 Shady Lane, town of Delafield. Most likely will never come into the village of Hartland and really doesn't affect us.
Yes.
But we have extraterritorial oversight because anytime a town is close, we have, I think, anything that's a mile and a half from our border, we get to say yay or nay in case we're gonna go and get the land. Which in this case, we are not.
I'll make a motion to approve the extraterritorial, I can't pronounce it, certified survey map for the Roy property at W298 North 2808 Shady Lane, town of Delafield.
Second.
Can the person that made the motion repeat it? We have a motion and a second.
The outer certified survey map.
For the extraterritorial certified survey map for the Roy property on Shady Lane in the town of Delafield. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have review and consideration of a public art plan by the Arrowhead High School students and the Hartland Business Improvement District.
Good evening, Steve Berger from the Business Improvement District from the Village of Hartland. I'm just going to introduce some great people about a great project that we have going on. I hope you get excited as we are about this project. So without talking to me and seeing me anymore, I'm going to leave it to the people who really have done the work and are excited about this. So
Thank you, Steve.
Hello again, my name is Jeff Luchwager. I am from the high school manufacturing and engineering program. I am a teacher there. I actually co-teach two classes that this project, two classes that have been working on this project. So with that said, I just want to say that we've had countless meetings with the BID team and a few meetings here at the village to get to this point. These students that we'll be talking about more about the project have put quite a bit of time and energy into this. At the start of this project included about 35 juniors and seniors through presenting ideas and eliminating ideas and teaming up and re-teaming. We feel like what you're going to be presented with tonight is kind of meets all the needs of the BID team, and we think it will meet all the needs of the village. So with that said, I will turn this over to the students. I brought 3 representatives that have spent the most time on this, and they would like to seek approval on this before they graduate, so they can have another class actually be involved in the production, and that class is also excited to see this thing come to life. We don't want to lose any energy in between the summer months.
Hi, so I'm Pac Davis. I'm a junior at Arrowhead. I'm in the EDD class that you mentioned about designing this project. Do you still have the slideshow? It looks like.
The person running it doesn't have it, sorry.
Oh.
We're all looking at it.
Okay, you got it? All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry.
You're all good.
He's pulling it up now. But you can.
But yeah, so for the first, I'll just give, last time we met with this board, I don't believe everyone was here. So I'll just run kind of quick through the overall design that we're hoping you can consider and approve today. On the slide that has the, I guess, more like visual representation, I think it's slide 3 maybe. There, you can see it's going to be 3 stainless steel letters. This is also like a 1-to-1 scale as far as length and height go up here. But yeah, that one. 3 stainless steel letters at the L and D, and then on the left side there'll be a heart that'll be powder coated red. The letters, and we talked about this earlier today and kind of decided on it. It's going to be 8 inches in depth, and then each letter is approximately 4 feet tall and wide. And then if you go to the next slide after that one, you can see the scaling of that and how it's going to look. It's going to be about 16 feet long and 4 feet high. So for mounting it for installing it in the village, which is the slide following, we are requesting that the city provide the funds for, I believe, the cement and mounting equipment for which 4 bolts for each letter to go into the cement. And that should be about it for the design. Oh, sorry, one more slide. We are hoping to have lighting on it of some sort, similar to that, where it'll be LED lights creating just kind of a nice look on the stainless steel, which is what's in that picture. It kind of creates a nice reflection. But yeah, that should be a quick summary of the design, and I'll hand it off to one of these two to talk about.
And I just want to throw in for you, I know it seems like not everyone was here, but what that was a different board, and I'm just using this as a teaching moment, but that was actually the plan commission. It has to go through.
No.
Here when you were
When you were
when I
gone.
ran it.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind, forget that I said anything. Yep, sorry, I was on vacation.
Approve it without you guys being here.
Oh, never mind, forget everything I just said. You just gave me a teaching moment, don't go on vacation.
Hello, I am Nicole Boudreau. I am a senior at Arrowhead. Could you go a few slides ahead to the different sites, please? I am on the screen. Yes, okay, so these are the sites we've been looking at. Ultimately, we believe Site 2 is the best site. It's the best for taking pictures. It's also the safest. Yeah, but there are low-hanging power lines, so this is something we would have to look into. But ultimately, we believe Site 2 would be the best site for this installation.
Hi, I'm Matthew Schmeeding. I'm also a senior. We believe that this project is really going to bring together not only what Arrowhead has in terms of manufacturing capabilities and the countless students in Warhawk that'll be able to produce this, but it also allows us as members of the community and everybody involved to be able to come by and take photos with this, be able to post it, whether it be with weddings or homecoming and prom, and all the different events that go on, parades and whatnot. And during our rough testing, we were able to determine that from 14 feet away, you can capture this entire sculpture with this installation with anybody standing around it or interacting with it, and it'd be a great social media aspect. It'd be something that can kind of represent the theme of Hartland and what it means to the people that live here. And we believe that by going forward with this, we can use what Arrowhead has to offer and what these wonderful people here in this community have and bring it all together.
Thank you.
I was just going to mention that at the beginning there was some prizes involved with the initial 35 students and their designs. At this point, these students are just passionate about seeing a project through and maybe get their names on it somewhere so that they can bring their families back and their friends to show them what work they've done too. To be clear, we are asking that the village picks up the cost on the concrete and site prep, and the bid team would be paying for the actual materials for the fabrication of the stainless letters that you see mocked up here out of wood.
Some of the key things that came from Plan Commission, I just want to share it with any board members that obviously weren't at the Plan Commission meeting, was that we like them all, they just wanted to be involved in wherever that final site is. So, but that the approval came through, if I'm not mistaken, it was unanimous. Yeah, it was unanimous approval, so people thought it was a good thing. I said I like it. I mean, that heart that's on there kind of goes back to our history, like you can see on the wall. And I like that it's just L and D, leaving out the A, because it kind of brings us into today's technology, where today's day and age where no one's typing a word. It's all either an emoji or something else, but it's all like that. Everything's all shortened up, you know, so LOL. And so I think it's kind of cool. It brings the two together, but it's also a really cool design, and I like the simplicity of it. Powder coated heart, stainless steel. Stainless steel letters where it's never going to corrode. So that was what I said at the Plan Commission, but I think is pretty cool. So anybody else that has anything, feel free.
Did the Planning Commission come up with a favorite site spot?
So that's kind of what we talked about, and that's what I want to jump in and say. The goal is to get these students to be able to get it to the next phase of the engineering design. At that point, when it's completed, it may go down to the public workshop or somewhere until we can make sure that whatever location we pick is safe. You know, that Christmas tree, whether it's coming down, the benches, we just have to look at it. We're hoping to give the blessing today. That way they can move forward and get this designed and built by those students that are part of it. they didn't want to have the next group kind of be the ones to finish their hard work. So that's kind of where we're going.
So not necessarily approving the site today, but approving the project.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Because again, I believe that this would go to plan, yeah, it would go to
And
plan
our
to talk about.
participation financially in the project.
Yes.
We'd like to get it to manufacturing.
Yep.
Understood.
So then they can start
Take it away from,
manufacturing.
these guys do the design work, then Arrowhead Manufacturing is gonna manufacture it.
Yep.
And then hopefully by that time, we'll have some sites that we can identify, be a little bit more clear, and then we can install.
And the obvious desire will be that it will be in the business improvement district, hence them funding it. So this first one at least will be somewhere desired to be in the bid.
The last meeting, when we were at Plan Commission, there was more, I mean, Site 2, I believe, was the one that's right on the corner there by the benches at the clock tower. And then, at the clock, it's not a clock tower, but the clock. And then there was another one that was down the sidewalk a ways, which would have been like.
By Clinks,
By Clinks, carpets.
Clinks is-
And then there was another site that was.
Board and Brush.
Board.
Brush.
Oh, there, okay. I thought, didn't they have a site where they talked about it going? So, okay, never mind. So those 3 sites.
We had 3 sites.
I have a quick question. You want the village, I understand, to, pay for the brackets and the concrete. Who actually is gonna do the actual installation? Is the village gonna do that?
Yeah, we did talk to, Dave, Dave.
Dave Felker?
Yeah, and
Okay.
he's been on board with this.
Okay.
On theirs. I'm sure if there's some expenses, at this point, once we decide,
Yeah.
we can kind of figure that out, but they agreed that they would do the installation.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve moving forward with the public art plan by Arrowhead High School students and the Hartland BID.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the Hartland art project done by Arrowhead engineering students. We'll move into discussion. I can see the chief has something he wants to say. Chief?
Yeah, I just wasn't real familiar. So the third site was over by Board and Brush. Does Ben have that site?
Should. 1 second.
So
Right there.
The third,
This actually is the first.
Oh, first site.
Yeah.
First site's by
Oh, through
Board
the
and Brush,
bushes. I
second
gotcha.
is by the tree.
There's
And
an
then
overview drone slide, one slide.
Yep, no, I got it.
one of the
My
reasons-
only concern,
Okay.
obviously, they would work probably at any 3 sites. This could be opportunities for pictures, things like that I can see kind of happening. And for events where the road's closed, that's not a bad thing, but that corner is a little bit of a weird, just how the intersection comes together.
as we talked about, we want to make sure, because if those bushes went away, that you're not impeding traffic, seeing each other coming. That's why today the goal is just to move this forward and then for us to kind of, with the bid, come up with a good site. Because I have concerns too, when you're taking a photo, you're moving back, and just don't want people going into the traffic, impeding traffic.
If we were to move the benches and those bushes though, now there's space and there's talk that'll come up, but even maybe it doesn't have to face the street, because you'd still see it from the street, but it literally goes perpendicular to the street. So now people can stay on the sidewalk, take pictures, even if there's multiple people and they're not standing in the road trying to get a perfect picture, but it's also seen from all directions on the road. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Again, that is not on the site. That is simply that this can get built. The village is gonna do their part on what was asked for, and this can move along. Thank you guys very much.
Nice
Well
work,
done.
you guys. That's
Very
awesome.
cool.
Great
Thank
job.
you very much.
Very
Work
cool.
to the students.
Thanks for bringing those letters 3 times.
Thank you.
No more photos?
Yep. Thank you very much. All right. Now we have a item on our agenda, which is a review and consideration of a request for a conditional use permit and business occupancy for Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin at 528 East Industrial Drive. Again, this is an item that came to us from the Plan Commission. There wasn't too much back and forth. Oh, and he is here if you have any questions for him. But there wasn't too much. This is another one that basically, for lack of a better term, sailed through.
Yeah, this used to be an indoor soccer facility. It's being repurposed as indoor pickleball, so.
You want to step forward just in case a question comes up. Otherwise, it's up to you guys. One of the things that came out of Plan Commission also was So I'll say it here so that it's on the record for this, but was also seeing if there would be an ability to, you know, work with the village and that kind of thing. So, and it sounds like that may be an open possibility. So that's also a good thing for the village of Hartland, where businesses make out, but the village gets help too, because a lot of times we have a rec program that assists people that aren't able to get into private clubs or, you know, afford to necessarily do those things, especially like during the winter. But sorry that I keep coughing. If you want to say any words, feel free.
Yeah, just looking forward to, I guess, project moving forward really, and try and expand this as we go forward. The club is growing and it's doing well, and we can't wait to bring more pickleball and work with the rec department to try and bring pickleball not just in the summer but also in the winter, and give Hartland a chance to also capitalise on all the hard work done there and then have nothing for winter, rather than then have something in the city itself we can work on. Obviously, moving forward, our new courts in Nixon Park was brilliant. That's a great day for our sport and great day for us locally. So to try and have work together, I think that's great.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for conditional use permit and business occupancy for Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin, 528 East Industrial Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the conditional use permit and business occupancy for Performance Pickleball of Wisconsin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have the, I'm only saying, you can stay for the whole meeting. I'm letting you know it's not considered rude. If you can stay, but it's not rude if you leave. We totally understand.
Miss anything.
Okay. Okay. Nothing else will be coming up on your issue.
Oh, no.
Because we have to stay with the agenda. We don't, I promise you it won't.
I appreciate you guys' time.
I just wanted to let you know.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Now about that mobile gas station.
Yeah. So we're closing 83 for 6 months. No, I'm kidding. All right. Village Board, third reading. The next item we have is Village Board, third reading in consideration of a Kwik-Trip, a proposed PUD development project, whose approval and rezoning are being sought by Kwik-Trip on the property tax key. I'm going to go over the three items we have here, the A, B's, and C's, just so everybody understands where we're at. We have proposed site and building plans. We have the proposed certified survey map, and then we have the proposed rezoning to B2 in conjunction with a PUD agreement for the project. The reason I bring all three of those up is that basically everything happens at the same time. All of a sudden, when everything goes through, that zoning changes and it all happens at the same time. That planned unit development agreement goes into effect, all of it goes into effect. The gentleman is here from Kwik-Trip. If you wouldn't mind just going to the podium in case anybody has any questions, or if you'd like to say a few words before the board. This did go through Plan Commission. It sounds like there's some work on, there was concern about trucks turning in and stuff like that. All those things have been taken care of. Does sound like we have a punch list that still need to be taken care of, but staff will stay on top of that. The Plan Commission did ask, and maybe the board will want it too, when everything's, you know, all done, maybe giving us a list coming from, whether it's our engineer or the village staff will provide us with a list saying all these things are done.
And that's all I was gonna say is if you guys do decide to approve this tonight, it would just be on the conditions that our village engineer and village attorney still have anything outstanding. Everything is very fluid, but it is essentially real close to wrapping up, correct? And the village attorney is here too if you have any questions. But
if you have any words you want to say, feel free.
Sure. Troy Molesova, Director of Real Estate, Kwik-Trip, 1626 Oak Street, La Crosse, Wisconsin. No, just appreciate the time. I know we've been in front of the group and Plan Commission several times, and appreciate working with staff, village attorney, village engineer, and working through kind of the details. I think we're real close to having the final I's dotted and T's crossed. So appreciate all the work over the last several months, and we're excited to move forward and appreciate your support tonight. Thanks.
can you give a timeline for everybody here? This is a different board, but I think we were talking, go ahead.
Sure, they're looking to start actual construction in April and then be open sometime, hopefully in September.
One other thing that came out of Plan Commission that it's important to let the trustees know is that Kwik-Trip has worked with, I don't know for sure if it's Three Leaf, but has worked with that development, and Kwik-Trip will be doing all of the road upgrades. Is that correct? Kwik-Trip's gonna take that up, and then they'll deal with getting money or whatever from the other, so we don't have to keep on going at two different groups, but Kwik-Trip is going to take on the road improvements that are associated with those projects. Does the board have any questions? again, this is a, oh, Hector, go ahead. Yes, sorry.
I'd like to ask, following up on what you indicated, Kwik-Trip is going to take responsibility for the upgrading of the roadway leading to this property and servicing the quarry. At this point in time, where are you in negotiating with the quarry people?
Yeah, we've got a draft agreement going back and forth with them, so we've exchanged paperwork on it. We've been waiting for the final bid numbers to come in on that work, so we knew what the responsibilities and obligations were. So based on Ryan's comments on the plans, there were some changes and additions to those plans. So those actually, we got some figures on Friday. So our engineers are reviewing those, so we're getting close to having the final numbers that then we can put into that agreement and finalize it.
Okay, good. I have a resolution document. We've got some extra copies here.
Just say into the microphone what you just handed out.
Yeah. I have just passed out a resolution document which attempts to summarize where this particular project is. In particular, we have completed the language of the PUD agreement. And the only thing that remains to be completed are the plans for the road work and the finalization between the quarry developer and Kwik-Trip on the cost-sharing aspect of it. The road work will commence and be finished probably well before the quarry itself commences, I suspect, demolition work or any construction for sure. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. So my recommendation for your action is the adoption of this resolution.
Thank you, Hector.
Thank you.
So would I make a motion to approve the resolution that would include the site and building plans, certified survey map, and the rezoning B2?
Approving everything,
Yeah, that approves everything?
Yeah, I think the best thing we can do on this, you're saying include the resolution vote with everything?
Yes.
Don't take two votes?
The PUD.
Sorry. We'll get you, that's why I always offer to let you sit by this.
For those of you who had nothing better to do but to read the PUD agreement, it incorporates those instruments. So by passing the resolution, you're authorizing the execution of this agreement, which in turn has attached to it a number of exhibits which detail the work. The only component that's missing are the final design details of the road work. There would not, there will not be the inclusion of any agreement between Kwik-Trip and the quarry developers. That's between them.
Hector, I don't want to, and I'm not asking this to waste time, I just want to make sure, and for anybody that might be watching, I just want to, because this is a big project, so this is a resolution. What is the reasoning, or if you could briefly just tell us, what's the reasoning to have a resolution along with the PUD and the other things that we have done?
I think it's best practice to have a document that scoops up everything, looks back at the history of approval. For example, there are dates here that recite when this matter was before the Plan Commission, when the Plan Commission last dealt with this and gave its recommendation to the board, when the board previously participated in a public hearing to get input on it in making this decision. it's a comprehensive wraparound document.
Sure, thank you. So the village attorney is suggesting items A, B, and C. Obviously, I would hope any motion would have included in it that there is a punch list that has to be satisfied, and mostly that's, well, all of that is village staff or our engineer take care of that. But that a motion would include also the resolution.
All right, I will make the motion then that we approve items A, B, and C. So that would be the proposed site and building plans, proposed certified survey map, and proposed rezoning of B2 in conjunction with a PUD agreement for the project for Kwik-Trip, along with the resolution. And then the contingencies that the punch list gets worked through by our staff and engineer, along with Kwik-Trip.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed site and building plans for the Kwik-Trip on Highway 83 and Capitol Drive, the proposed certified survey map, the proposed rezoning to B2 in conjunction with the PUD agreement for the project, and to approve the resolution with the contingencies that the punch list items that have not yet been completed and satisfied, those items will be done. Staff will oversee that, and that. It's been moved and seconded. The motion's on the floor. Any discussion?
Did I hear you correctly that Kwik-Trip is going to be responsible for all of the cost for the road development there, or is that a partnership?
It's a cost-sharing arrangement, 40/60, I believe.
But it's between them and
Yes.
them, so we're just dealing with Kwik-Trip on it.
Kwik-Trip's doing all the work, they have all the engineering, all the road design. They're gonna do it, they're working out the agreement with Relief for who pays who between those two.
Okay.
And unlike a lot of developments where there's a dedication of the improvement, we already have the right-of-way. So it's merely gonna be a transfer of the improved asset.
Anybody else? Call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you, and thank you, Hector. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now we have a conceptual review of Gideon Farms on property currently in the town of Merton. This property is located just north, across the street, of North Campus at Arrowhead.
And again, real quick, this is just a
Hector.
conceptual review. None of these plans are finalized. This property is in the town of Merton. It would take annexation to come forward with the desire for water and sewer, but I'll let you go.
Hello, thanks for inviting me. Andy Gale, representing Gideon Farms. For those who don't know, my father, John Gale, has been involved in farmland conservation within the county for quite a number of years. This is essentially an extension. It is my property, but it is an extension of farmland conservation. The goal is to try to keep the majority of the property as farmland while developing the corner, the 5 acres on the corner, as a farm-to-fork type location. We have a number of buildings that we are trying to either salvage or rebuild on the site. All of the buildings will have a farm look and feel to them, and hopefully will at some point be delivering farm-to-fork food. So the proposal before you does have a phased approach. There are currently 4 phases. Those 4 phases would be most likely spread out over a 8 to 10 year period, roughly 2 hours per phase to get construction done, get things up and operating. We continue to look for community feedback. We've been very much in contact with Four Wind Subdivision, with Swallow, with Arrowhead, with all of our immediate neighbors, making sure that that what we're doing is something that they're happy to have. And we have also spent a significant amount of time with the county talking about traffic corner on the traffic on the corner specifically, and ingress and egress from the site. Is there any questions I can answer for you?
This is another item that did come from Plan Commission. Plan Commission liked this a lot. One of the questions that came up in Plan Commission was, are they looking to have this annexed into the village of Hartland? And they are. The comments from the Plan Commission that where people did really like the idea of them, as you can see, I mean, they have retail, they have many different things on here. And it seems to be a very cool concept. It was well received at the Plan Commission, and so they referred it to the village board. And I did know that Rick would be very happy to see that they have retail on here as part of their as part of their concept. So again, as Ryan said, this is conceptual review, but if anybody has any comments or anybody has any questions for the presenter, swing away.
Is some things he brought up too. The entrances and exits off of both roads are kind of designed by the county, won't interfere with Swallow. The two parking lots don't adjoin, so it won't be a through street for high school kids to speed through. Very walkable area, and I don't know what 80% of it will still remain agricultural farm.
Correct.
Fair enough.
Correct. And the primary reason for annexation into the village is access to the sewer and water.
One question that I didn't ask at Plan Commission, but I'll bring up. Is there any, with there being restaurants and stuff like that there, is there any, and I'm not very familiar with this stuff, but I know that sometimes like driving in spring is when you really notice it. Is there any fear that there's gonna be complaints from nearby homeowners or the school on smell? Or is that more so when people are putting in crops and they're spraying things?
That would be, again, we have not had any smell issues to date. Again, we have had cattle grazing. Those cattle are not there 12 months out of the year. We do move them in the winter. They are not my cattle. We work with another farmer who brings the cattle out for spring, summer, fall. And we have not had any smell issues on that. We have not had any reason to fertilize that property. We'd prefer to try to keep that property organic in nature. On occasion, the number one fertilizer is manure. In today's day and age, the number one way to spread manure is to inject it directly into the ground, specifically to eliminate the smell. I do know there was an issue in Neshota a couple of years ago, of which my father was very much part of that, where the truck literally broke, a hose broke, and you suddenly had a pool of manure, and it was very much noted. So again, accidents do happen, but no, there was nothing ever intentional, and I surely don't expect it, particularly since we are not growing crops where we would need to be fertilizing on a regular basis. Because this is strictly grass and we are trying to graze, we really don't have that need.
And that just because there are homeowners that are so close, and obviously if there's gonna be restaurants, people don't wanna smell, but.
Correct.
Would you be opposed if there was something in there that part of this was that this stays as this is it's a farm field for, would you ever lease this out to a farmer that you're like, okay, yeah, you can just start growing there?
So it is, again, our goal is to keep it as ag. I never know what I don't know what I don't know. And so part of it is we have, again, the whole lawn here is specific so that people can sit and appreciate the farming community. There has become such a disconnect between what you eat and where it comes from. And we continue to play with how to best represent that. And so, yeah, I'd be concerned only because I don't know.
Right.
But overwhelmingly, people aren't excited to sit and watch soybeans grow.
No, I get it. I guess where I was kind of, with it being conceptual, I'm just kind of bringing up that possibly, or maybe even, I don't even know if we legally can, our attorney just left, but possibly having the caveat that at least the business, whoever is doing it, if they were going to come and lease it out where there was going to be regular crop growing, that they
Right.
could come to the village, so at least we have a chance to
Yeah,
be involved in the
yeah,
commission.
since the Family Foundation is sitting on, since the Family Foundation is currently sitting on several hundred acres, near 1,000 acres of farmland, the intent for this corner is really as then a gathering, not as the primary. So at one point in time, we even had greenhouses on this, and I actually pulled them off, recognizing that greenhouses are better utilized elsewhere.
Right.
And we have really looked around the country at places that are doing this. There are a number in Vermont, there's a couple in Ohio, we've gone west to look at, and generally where you have people, you are seeing cows and sheep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Has there been any discussion beyond dairy cattle, other animals that you might want to have, chickens, pigs, sheep? You just mentioned sheep, is it?
Correct. So at the moment, cows, sheep being the two. My wife flat out refuses to talk pigs, and it's funny, you know. Again, people get a view of what is. There's so many different breeds of. You get into, well, what are the breeds, and some are easier to have around people than others. Certainly, a number of years ago, it was all about goats and goat yoga.
Well, I love lamb, so I'm all down with the sheep. I think that's awesome.
So,
I do.
Yeah. Far and away for us, and there is a certain amount of simplicity to this site because it is so central, and so that cows, whether dairy or non-dairy, are just simply easier for a site like this. They're easier to manage. Even sheep that I think we would enjoy. All of a sudden, I got to rechange the fence, and they're a little quicker to get away. All things that we don't want to be dealing with on this site.
Real quick with this is essentially a 10-year phasing of projects.
Yes.
The coffee shop and ice cream shop are first, and then goes into the barn, future dairy, and possibly future retail. Tonight isn't a vote. Tonight is just gauging everyone's feeling on this, and should he decide to move forward, we would go through the annexation process and process for future, everything associated with what it takes, the 5-6 meetings it would take to get through this.
I'll start by saying that my feeling is this is awesome. I think this is super cool. It's great use of property. I like the farm to fork idea. I think that's great. I think that's a really, really neat location to be used for this. It's awesome.
Typically, things do come to the village board before they go to plan commission. It was a timing issue, I guess, on how this ended up in front of the plan commission before it came to the board. So typically, we would take a vote to send it to plan commission, so I would like to have, at least get a vote on our approval of the concept. It seems like everybody's approving it, but that we would have a vote on record approving the concept.
Can we do that if it's not on the agenda?
Well, I don't want to make him come back next month.
There's an item on the agenda. I mean, it's
Technically,
it's on there as an item, but not-
technically, I mean, we could, it's a non-binding motion that's just going into the record.
I'll make a motion to,
Do you, Ann, do you get what I'm saying?
I do. I don't think we can do it to approve.
Yeah.
but for optics.
I'll make a motion to approve the conceptual review of Gideon Farms on property currently in the town of Merton.
I'd second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the conceptual review, which is basically non-binding. It's already went through plan commission, but to approve the conceptual review of Gideon Farms on the property currently located in the town of Merton. So that motion's on the floor. I do believe that trustee Walschlager is correct. Again, this is basically non-binding. I mean, it's not gonna, everything that was going to happen is still gonna continue to happen as if the vote didn't happen, but it does get on the record of which board members were, you know, or if the board was for or against it. Again, the only reason I'm saying that is because typically the village board sends things to plan commission, and I hate to not take a vote because now the village board technically on paper hasn't seen it. And I just want to get a record, so. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. I will look
Now
forward to
we
next
have
steps.
a consideration of a motion to approve the revised plans for an addition of an attached garage and storage area on St. Charles Congregation property at 313 Circle Drive. This did come to the Plan Commission. This also, I believe, was passed unanimously. Am I wrong? They redid some things to make it look better. The village was happy with it, as far as I know. DPW was happy with it. Scott Hussinger was happy with it. So that's what we have before us.
Yeah, this is just simply moving it to over a little. It gives it better optics. It's I'm trying to get here to some photos. It looks much cleaner.
I'll make a motion to approve the revised plans for an addition of the attached garage and storage area on St. Charles Congregation property, 313 Circle Drive.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the addition of an attached garage and storage area on St. Charles Congregation at 313 Circle Drive. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have other items for consideration. We have a consideration of a second reading with possible waiving of the third reading. We would have to suspend the rules to do that. Of bill for an ordinance number 2/12/2024, an ordinance to create section 78-9 of the Village of Hartland Municipal Code regulating wireless telecommunication facilities in the public right-of-way.
So, as I mentioned, this is the second reading, hoping to approve it. Essentially, the state has put together what we can and can't do for these wireless repeaters. There's not much that we can do against it. It's part of the 5G networks going forward. So once we get this approved, we can start allowing some of the manufacturers to get going on their small cell towers. This is something that's going all over in all municipalities. So
I'd make a motion that we suspend the rules.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to suspend the rules. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Rules are suspended.
I would make a motion then that we approve the bill for an ordinance number 0212-2024, an ordinance to create section 78-9 of the Village of Hartland Municipal Code regulating wireless telecommunications facilities in public right-of-way.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve a bill for an ordinance number 0212-2024, an ordinance to create 78-9 of the Village of Hartland Municipal Code regulating wireless telecommunication facilities in the public right-of-way.
So this was drafted by the village attorney and also based on some other local municipalities that have essentially the same exact ordinance in place.
I have one I just want to clarify, I can't remember where it was in here, that this gives telecommunications the right to put one of these poles in anybody's yard in the village, correct? As long as it's in the right of way and it falls within the 50 feet or 10% of the building, correct?
I'd have to look at the semantics of it, but yes, we can't limit necessarily where.
So I mean, they could put one in front of Rick's house.
Sure. We don't have a say.
Okay,
We'll get sued
I just
otherwise.
want to make sure
Yeah.
that everybody knew that, thank you.
And with that coming up, that's a very good point, Trustee Walschlager. I want to stress this very strongly. That is not the Village of Hartland, nor the county, nor the state that is imposing the handcuffs and strenuous, putting their boot on us to tell us what to do. That is the federal government.
And again, in this ordinance too, it also states that everyone within 300 feet of where one of those poles would be set is gonna be notified as well, so, you know, at least this ordinance gives us some kind of, notification at least, and they still have to go through and get a permit through us, so we still gotta kind of alter, try to steer their direction of where they're putting these towers, so.
We don't really have a choice on whether they can
I
put these
understand.
things,
I know.
no, I just want, we don't have a choice on putting them up But what this does do is it does cause us for the future. Let's say all of a sudden we aren't the board members anymore 10 years from now, it still stipulates and gives it forces the village to make sure to notify everybody within 300 feet. So at least when they're going up, people will know about it. I do think the cell towers are gonna get, or the cell, what's the word I'm looking for? Antennas are going to get smaller in the future. It does seem like it's going that way. They're just gonna need more of them. I could be wrong, but I think that's the way it's going.
And there's actually multiple of these that are already up in the village. You just haven't noticed them because they're already on existing poles.
Yep.
As I've been driving around, I've been noticing them more because I'm looking for them now.
Yeah.
But this is just having the addition with them being able to put up a pole if needed because these are directed by line of sight. That's how they communicate to
Just
one
in
another.
general, how many do we have in the village?
That I don't know.
Typically, though, they do try to use existing poles. That's why you see them on the water towers and stuff like that. I mean, they usually try to use existing. The only time they really want to build a tower, I mean, that's an expense. They only do that when all of a sudden there's just really spotty coverage.
These are for the small repeaters. These are gonna be every 50 to 100 feet.
Right.
All throughout every municipality across the nation.
Right.
Unfortunately.
It's not just Hartland. So with that, anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion is carried. Now we have announcements.
Okay, with the DPW, the weather's really nice outside, so people are looking at their lawns and starting to rake and collect brush and all that stuff like that. Just want to put a reminder out there that the recycling yard has opened up to waste drop off of all lawn debris and everything like that, branches and everything like that. We are open on Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So just a reminder as you guys are starting to clean up the yards, all residents.
Is that every Friday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We actually opened and extended it early just because of the storm that we had with all the weight from the snow and everything like that. Brought a lot of branches down, a lot of yard debris to pick up this year. So.
Is it only on Friday, or are we having a weeknight as well?
So as of right now, it's only on Friday. That's until brush pickup. Then it will be opening up on the weeknights too.
Which is what date?
Ooh, that I do not.
Yeah, we don't normally open the yard till mid-April, end of April.
Right.
First Tuesday, I believe, in April. I'll have to look.
We just had really nice weather and had availability for someone to work it, so we wanted to have people drop it off. Mr. Faulkner took a picture for me, and you guys already have a ton of yard waste.
Yeah, we have a decent pile going already, so our residents are definitely starting to bring in brush.
So I wanted to share that we did land our first presenting sponsor for Hometown Celebration. So Culver's has stepped up and is donating $15,000 for this year's celebration.
Great.
Yeah, very exciting. They do a lot for our community. We're really lucky to have that family here and supporting us. Aside from that, T-ball's doing really well. We're at 126 enrollees with still another full month of enrollment, and then late enrollment goes through April as well.
Good evening. Fire Department, we've had 2 fires the last 2 weekends, of which both I have missed. So everybody wants me to leave now so that they can go fight fires. First one was up in Summit Lakes in Millington, kitchen fire there. And then this last weekend, they were over in the town of Delafield on Old North Shore Drive for a pretty major fire there. We did have one of our firefighters that didn't really get hurt, but was pretty much wore out and ended up getting an IV fluid replacement, and then she was back to work, so.
There was no loss of life.
No.
Nope. Good.
2 quick updates. One we kind of covered in our public comment regarding sex offender notification on Briarcliff. I think we got through all the information on that, but I just wanted to make the board aware of that since it's the first notification I have received since our new ordinance went into effect. And then secondly, we're still working through that conditional offer process with our latest police officer recruit. His final step of that was the psychological assessment today, so we're just waiting to hear back on results. We should hopefully have those by close of business tomorrow, and hopefully moving forward with making that a final offer which would make us fully staffed, and that would cover the one vacancy left by Officer Miller at the beginning of the year.
I will make a comment. I'd like to congratulate Sarah for the most recent Chamber of Commerce award that her department won. Some of us were there to help her celebrate. She has a trophy, and I don't know what she did with it, but.
It's upstairs.
Okay.
On display.
Okay, very good. That's
Next
what I told you
next
to
to all
do.
the rest of her trophies.
So anyway.
Good.
I would also, under the same award, I think I'm saying this right, because I think the award was for Sarah, the rec director, and for the park board. So for the park board, I think that's what it said on there, I think.
Yes,
But so for
that's
the park
correct.
board, congratulations on getting those. Those are not, I can tell you better than anyone, those are not easy to get. So congratulations to the board and to Sarah. Also that wall, the moving wall, the Vietnam moving wall, is gonna be coming to Hartland. I do know that, I got an email, I don't know how many of you are signed up for emails, but they are looking for, people can start signing up to take shifts and stuff like that, so just passing that on to anybody that's watching and to the board. The Kudos Awards dinner was a good time. It seemed like it was a good fundraiser for the chamber, and a lot of good stuff there. They had cake at each table, they had different drink cocktails that you could take. That was all stuff that was part of donations. The food was delicious, and it was great people. So kudos to the chamber. I was going to ask about the fire. I won't touch on that. Obviously, hopefully everybody continues to think about where they want artwork going. Coming up, we do have tours and things that are going to be going on so that the departments can start presenting to the board. I'm saying this right out so that the village can start talking about it, but it is highly likely that the village of Hartland is going to be moving towards some new facilities. It is much needed, but I'm putting it out there for the community so that they know it's coming, because at some point we're going to have to do it. We can't just keep reusing buildings forever. So I have no other announcements.
I will make a motion and that we adjourn.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned.